If you think you've seen every twist a movie can pull, 2026 is coming to prove you wrong. The trailers are cut, the sets are torn down, and somewhere on a studio hard drive sits the film that's going to melt your brain next year. Let's talk about the 2026 movies you're going to be obsessed with. We're talking the biggest names, the boldest directors, the most daring storytelling yet. And we start with one film that might just redefine everything you thought you knew about epics. Enter the Odyssey, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matt Damon as the legendary Odysseus on a $250 million journey home after war. But that's just the beginning. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to have a full watch list of 10 upcoming movies you cannot ignore, and each one has something unique. Next up, a film born from someone whose name alone stirs expectation. Number 1, the epic return of Christopher Nolan. Let's dive into that opening film, The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan, fresh off blockbuster acclaim, takes on Homer's ancient epic. Matt Damon is the Odysseus, Tom Holland plays his son Telemachus, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson all show up. What makes this one special is scale and ambition. Filmed in IMAX at 70mm across Morocco, Greece, Iceland. Budget, $250 million. It's Nolan doing mythic action on a grand canvas. And if that seems big, wait, it's part 1 of the 2026 cinematic year that wants to feel event level. Why you should watch. It's not just a movie, it's a cinematic event. And now we move from legend to legacy, which leads to our next major film. Number 2, a franchise generator, Avengers and more. Next up, Avengers Doomsday, released December 2026. The monster slugger, Robert Downey Jr., is reported to return, but not as Iron Man. The Russo brothers are back, Marvel Phase 6 is gearing up. Think of this as the big spectacle, multiverse, legacy characters, new threats, possible returns we didn't expect. If you're into blockbuster universes, this is at the top of the list. What to keep an eye on, who returns, who doesn't. And speaking of ground to cover, let's shift gears to a high-stakes thriller you might not see coming. Number 3, deep water and survival horror. Let's talk survival. Deep Water is set for May 1st, 2026, directed by Rennie Harlin, starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley. A plane crash into shark-infested waters, desperate passengers versus nature's worst. The reason it stands out, it blends the disaster movie genre with full-on horror. The we're stuck, we're drowning, we're hunted scenario. Simple premise, high tension.
Number 4, reboots and reinventions, Cliffhanger and the Thomas Crown Affair. Reboots are everywhere, but some look like they might actually work. First, Cliffhanger, August 28, 2026, a modern-day reimagining of the 1993 action classic. Lily James, Pierce Brosnan, directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. Set in the Dolomites, a luxury chalet becomes the site of a full-on kidnapping. Then here's The Thomas Crown Affair, 2026. Michael B. Jordan directs and stars in the remake of the 1968 film. Why these matter? One taps nostalgia and spectacle. The other reinvents a genre favorite with new talent behind the camera. They widen the appeal. Watch for the action-adventure monster and the sleek heist thriller. And speaking of heist thrillers, we segue into our next section, High Concept meets High Risk. Number 5, High Concept Big Risk, Archangel. Enter Archangel, November 6th, 2026. Directed by William Ebank, starring Jim Caviezel. Plot, a former Special Forces soldier turned weapons designer must protect his Wyoming neighbors from a ruthless corporation. What's intriguing here? It's original, not part of a franchise, or at least not obviously part. It has tension, stakes, a familiar one-man versus many formula which when done right can be enthralling. Why it's on the list? Because 2026 doesn't just deliver the big blockbusters, it also has these wild card titles that could surprise. And now, we've hit 5 entries, 5 more to go. But before that, let's pivot into animation and family-friendly promise.
Number 6, animation and legacy brands, Toy Story 5 and Supergirl. First, Toy Story 5 scheduled for June 19th, 2026. Then, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, June 26, 2026, a big-budget sci-fi from Warner Brothers. Why this pair? Because families and superhero fans both get their big moments. Toy Story is legacy, beloved. Every entry has carried weight. Supergirl, a solo female-led hero film that is poised to make a statement. What to watch for? How each balances expectation versus new direction. Does Toy Story 5 recapture the charm? Does Supergirl break molds or simply rehash? Next, we're returning to franchises and wild cards for our final stretch. Number 7, the franchise wild card, Spider-Man and the Hunger Games. Here's one that might turn the fan world upside down. Spider-Man Brand New Day, July 31, 2026. The next big chapter in the Spider-Man saga. And pushing into November, the Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, November 20th, 2026. A new entry in the Hunger Games universe. Why these matter? The first is a superhero staple, beloved and reinventable. The second is young adult epic turned blockbuster empire. 2026 will see whether these worlds keep delivering. And now we close in on the number 1 pick. Number 8, the number 1 most anticipated Avengers Doomsday again. Yes, we're returning to this one because it demands a spotlight. Avengers Doomsday isn't just another movie. It's the cinematic event. Robert Downey Jr. returns, multiverse stakes, legacy characters, new threats. This film could define 2026. Its scale, its ambition, its risk. If it succeeds, it may carry the year. If it falters, then we'll remember 2026 differently. So, when you ask what film am I most excited for, this is it. Yet, it's wise to have a broader selection, which brings us to our final section. Number 9. Honorable mentions and surprise releases. Beyond the 8 we've covered, 2026 has more surprises. The Devil Wears Prada 2, May 1, Mutiny, August 21, Narnia the Magician's Nephew, November, to name a few. These may not carry the same hype yet, but hype isn't everything. Sometimes the biggest joy comes from a lesser-known title that exceeds expectation. So, keep your radar open, because 2026 is stacked. And now, let's bring it all together. Number 10. Mortal Kombat Redux, Mortal Kombat 2. If you thought video game movies were overhyped, think again. Mortal Kombat 2 looks hardcore, visceral, ready to deliver something fans have waited years for. With the legacy of the franchise, a returning subculture, and stakes that literally determine multiverse survival, this is not a casual flick. And if battling realms isn't big enough, what about a galaxy-spanning team-up? Coming next. We've taken a sweep from mythic epics, the Odyssey, to blockbuster universes, Avengers Doomsday, from survival horror to deep water, to reboot thrillers, Cliffhanger, The Thomas Crown Affair, family animation, Toy Story 5, strong female leads like Supergirl, and franchise wildcards like Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and The Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping. What does this tell us about 2026? It tells us that this will not be a run-of-the-mill year. It will be audacious. It will be diverse in tone and audience. It will carry weight. So, here's your watch list for 2026. Mark your calendars. Set your reminders. Talk about this list with friends now so when the trailers drop, you're ready. Because the films we've covered, they promise more than entertainment. They promise moments. Moments you'll look back on and say, that year, that movie hit me. And that year is 2026. Thanks for watching.